Hi, it's a beautiful spring day here. Wind is just starting to pick up a little bit, but I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about our grey water recycling and water recycling gardens, just to give you some ideas about how you can drought proof your property, increase your yields and increase the biodiversity in the ground around you. Let's have a look. So this just looks like a pile of dirt right now, but about 3 weeks ago we dug a trench here from our shed, which is in the background there, and diverted all the water that runs from our sink and our shower down this trench using some typical drainage pipe, and backfilled that with some grey metal or bluestone. And now this area will be tidied up and sown down to grass seed. So the water comes down through this trench, and it's really important to be able to do this because in a drought-ridden country like Australia, we know that the rainfall rarely exceeds our evaporation rate. So it's important that we make the most of every drop of water that we have. So you'll see here the trench comes out and there's blue metal, bluestone, and we've covered that with some granite rock just to provide a little bit more habitat for the invertebrates and lizards and things like that that live in our property. So there's a habitat development there, and you can see here that the pipe comes out through the rocks there to this tub, which I'll just open up and show you. So under here, hold this back. Under here we have the drain coming through into some slotted pipe, which drains the water into this bathtub. Now in this bathtub is old dried cattle manure, which we've collected from our cattle paddock, and lots of worms. So you can't actually see the worms working at the moment, but they're in there working away on anything that comes down the drain, including any small food scraps or anything like that. So that, we'll just cover that back up so the birds don't get into it. That then drains out the bottom here through this pipe and runs down to, get down here, the next phase. So this is still under construction, and there's another old bathtub, and that will be filled later today with some gravel in the base to stop it from clogging, some soil and some mushroom compost, and into that we'll get planted a native reed, which is called the bulrush reed, and that will populate that garden bed, that bathtub. So what happens there is the water as it comes through from the worms at the top will then fill this bathtub and feed the reed bed. The reed bed will clean the water so that it is then safe to use in the next stage, which runs down along here. And as I said, this is still under construction, so it will come along the profile of this area here to a small pond, which will be set up as a frog habitat, again supporting the biodiversity and the wildlife. So the small pond will be in this area, general area, and that is still high enough in our landscape to filter down to support other species. So this area will then get planted out with mostly native plants, and it will be watered by us just having a shower. Hi folks, so last time I did a live video for you, I showed you our grey water treatment system, and I said that we were still working on the pond area. Well, we finished that today, and just up in the background there you can see the bathtub. Okay, so the water from that tub runs along this contour in the tree line here, and you can just start to see the pipe coming out behind this tree here, and it comes across to our pond. So there's no water coming through yet because we haven't had a shower yet today, but basically this pond it's been excavated with our tractor, and you'll be able to see just here on the ground there is 2 layers of carpet. Now this is just carpet that somebody was going to throw away, so I got that in exchange for some plants, so thank you to those people. So that in between those 2 layers of carpet is 2 layers of black plastic to help seal. So there's the black plastic out the back there, and that pipe runs through here, and I've started to build a nice little habitat there around the outside to hide the pipe, and it comes around into the pond area. So this pond will hold about 1.5 to 2 feet of water before it overflows, and it will overflow behind here and run down further into the block. So there's still a lot of cleaning up and things to do, but we've seeded the ground with a pasture mix including clover and legumes and a few other things, and we've planted some nitrogen fixing casuarina cousin it bushes, so they grow to about 1 metre by 1 metre, and they look pretty cool. I'll show you one of the tags if I can reach it. Oh, there we are, cousin it. It's pretty groovy. So we've planted a bunch of those there on the edge to provide further habitat to fix nitrogen and support species will go in after. This one here is a cranberry, and that's planted right up against a log so that it can trail over the log and into the water once it's full. We've got some logs in there to provide habitat for invertebrates, frogs, fish, whatever. And along the back side of the wall here you'll see it's been fairly heavily seeded. We've got some trailing saltbush. Now the berries on these are absolutely gorgeous to eat. They're very small, but they're very nice. And we come around, a bit difficult coming around the back here. Still a lot of clean up to do. So around here we've left as much of the native vegetation in place as we could. So there's lots and lots of little young trees coming up and shrubs, and we've planted some Eremophila, which is another native bush, and that grow to about 1 metre by 1 metre as well. So there you have it. Let's come across here, there's a bit of an obstacle course. So in the process of doing that, they've also cleaned up here, which is just above the area. Forgive the gunshot in the background, my neighbours are target practicing again. So we've got some beautiful wattle tree bushes there. This area has been very, very neglected for a very, very long time. So there's a lot of dead wood in here, but there's also a lot of life. So once we cleared all the rubbish from around in here and used it as mulch, you'll see that there's some little native plants coming up. They've volunteered themselves, so I'm happy about that. So we use the timber as terraces, and it will slowly rot down over time. We'll cover that with some hay and other bits and pieces just to keep it wet so that it does rot. The last thing you want is your timber just laying on the ground drying out, because it becomes a fire hazard. And there's the beginnings of a pathway heading back this way. So I hope that ties it all together for you. This area is one of my favourites. It's nice and green down here, and with a bit more care and attention, it'll look really nice. So that gives you a quick overview of how that system works. The reason we do this is because, as I said at the beginning, being in a country that is prone to drought is, you know, it's a very difficult thing, and sometimes we need to really consider how we use things. And permaculture encourages us to increase biodiversity and to reuse our waste streams and put them to good use. So this is one way that we can do that. Alrighty, well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of information. Please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.